What did we talk about in our last show yesterday? If you've had the FOMO and you're sitting on the sidelines because you took profit like I did, the FOMO cure is here. Red days, sale days, all the good shit's on sale. Now we're on the hunt again. Love it.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to your daily fix in the middle of the night. Not financial advice, of fucking course. Pope and I are going to be hanging, talking tonight, midnight, beginning of Thursday, March 20th, Thursday afternoon on the other side of the world for lucky people. Tonight, money flow cycle, market cap, dominance, Bitcoin, ETH gives us a heads up on how the money is moving within the market so we can make more educated decisions, people. Pope, we're going to be talking about some classics: Phantom, Casper, Kusama, Atom, Cosmos. And then you said something about gaming tokens, which I'm pretty stoked about. So let's talk about the FOMO. I like the video you started on.
Right. Well, the red days are for us. These are where the sales happened, where the sky wasn't falling. And we were talking about it. I just realized I didn't post the yet here for the Daily Fix Light show. It was automatically posted on our YouTube when we create this stream. But we definitely missed that. So I apologize, but it's there now. The last few days have been interesting, and it's been quite the ordeal to watch. If you looked at the data, it's been playing out actually better than we thought it might. And that's always refreshing when we're looking at these downs. Let's dig into it. Jumping in. So we've looked at the market cap in a couple of different ways now. And we said yesterday, worst case scenario, we could consolidate along this 2.289 amount, or we could even go lower down to these other weekly support and resistance levels. And we turned pretty quick, which was nice because that was gross. And now when we look at our indicators, we're coming up to our micro bull. We say we like the belly. Obviously, we're talking market cap, the total money in the entire ecosystem. And right now, a red candle is good. This is a very bullish sign. Healthy retracement from people taking profit. Hold this 2.4. And I've been saying we want to get above this 2.5. The 2.5 has been our magic number for so long. And when this started, this is where we were talking about trying to hold and not panic. And here we are. And we always say red days are the sale days. These are what gets us excited. We talked yesterday, if you're stressed about the downward markets, are you overextended? You didn't follow strategy and have money on the sidelines for these great opportunities. You know, we've been digging. I have a few. We've talked about some of these already. And there's lots more. If you've gone through our modules or you're in our Discord and you understand how to use our indicators with our strategy, you're going to start to see how this plays out a little more. Healthy retracement and off. This is what we want. These ups and downs. They're just going to get bigger. Remember when we zoomed out? Oops. We were saying, just get rid of these, that this part here from way back in the day is this part. You know, we're only 3 days left to go. Consolidation, massive rise, cool off, which we needed. which is healthy. Consolidation, quick massive rise, pullback, healthy. These are weeks. And then guess what happens again? And then back. So right now, nothing's that bad. If we didn't hold the lines we were talking about, yeah, then especially if we didn't hold this. I've always said, if I'm not panicking, I'm not panicking. If I'm panicking, you're gonna know. Oh, I ain't gonna hide it. When you get to know me, I don't do that well.
You don't pussyfoot around the panic. I appreciate that
No,
about you.
yeah, right. And what do we have? We have a nice parallel channel up, 3 touches, healthy pullback, holding this area, the 2.4. Looking for the cross, right on a weekly support. Really. It means we're off to the races. We're going back to fight this level again. And guess what? It's going to be wavy up and down while we do it. And by now, we all know, watching this and understanding this and the money flow cycle, when you are short-term trading, is everything. If you're long-term trading, I keep saying, why are you here? Go to the beach. That's what you're supposed to do. And that's why personally, I still feel like I haven't done the sheep. I didn't panic sell. I got stop loss on a couple. And I rebought in a few positions that I'm going to show you today. Because it made sense. Because I didn't get stop loss out of those. I was down now in those. I have extra money. I have faith in that project. Now a dollar costed entry into those other projects. That's just sometimes part of strategy when we catch these disgusting downs.
I think the only thing I'm not quite sure about yet for myself is the faith part, considering that I think all of the work needs to confirm my faith.
Fair. Totally fair.
You're my faith at the moment. I do have a question about
err on the side of caution is always better. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, I do have a question about the market cap before you move on. I had the same question, I believe, on when we did the midnight show, kind of Monday to Tuesday. When I'm looking at the market cap and you're showing those patterns that are going to replicate themselves, through the seasons, through the time. But we did talk about in other calls you and I have looked at together about getting into that uncharted territory. So even though it's following the same patterns, as soon as it's uncharted territory, that's when it still is a little bit of a question mark. When we get up to this all-time high of total market cap and blaze through that, how do you know it's going to replicate? Or is there something, you know what I mean? You may not know this.
So we've dropped some of that in. Okay, so Elliott Wave comes into that. Fibonacci comes into that. And that's where the larger scale patterns of time. And it shows you kind of where we look at, and we've dropped that in the Discord. We'll get into Uncharted when we're there. Currently, we're not. I mean, we are in a sense in the terms of the conditions. We've never had ETFs,
Right.
where we've never had this much of a bull run before a halving. We typically have a pullback. Was that our pullback? Like, I know a lot of people felt like the sky was falling.
Mm-hmm.
That was a few days. A few days, people. We've made back that loss in the last day and a half, if you're in the proper things. And if you had followed strategy, money on the sidelines, and bought in on these lows, you're doing very well. And that's also part of strategy. Now, understanding when we're looking at this, when we say we can see these patterns, we know up here we're going to have a pullback. That's what these say. These indicate pullbacks when they're up here. They indicate ups up here. We've had all this up. Makes sense. We've already had all this down, but came up. That's strength. That's absolute strength. But we may have a little bit of a down still. And it would be nothing to panic. Where are my tools? You can tell I just set up right before the show. All right, so now it could be a time for a reversal. It could be time just to keep walking up as well and contest, this channel. What are we on? 4 hours? Perfect. 4 hours. So we know this is going to be a point of contention. We know we're hoping this holds for support. It did here, so that's strength. We've had a lot of up after a lot of down. A little cooling, like I said, that breathing that we were looking for in the market, we seem to have gotten. But look at this. So always remember, don't get excited right now. FOMO, everything's been taken off 10, 12s, 20s. I've seen some crazy returns on some decent projects, not meme coins, decent projects that will have slight pullbacks because people are taking profit because they bought the fear the last 2 days. So this is healthy. This is faster than I anticipated, which is nice. I was thinking it was going to be early next week, and it looks like we may have money flowing through the weekend, or it may just kind of hover in this area. And how we can always watch and tell is to zoom in and see what's going on. And this is for short-term trading. Long-term trading, no worries. But yeah, on the short term, you can see we're almost at the top of that curl of our micro bull. So if that starts to pull down, we know the money flow is about to leave a bit. But we've had healthy up, retracement, healthy up, retracement. Stabilizing. Do we go healthy up and challenge here? Do we pull back a bit again? Healthy up, maybe up to here, pull back, up. Because we know we got to come out and retest that area. Or do we turn? We just follow the channel. We just quickly did dirty. Absolutely. It's showing us on a TA level and with confluence, this here is our instability area. Oh, before here, we knew we were going up. Here we finally got the belly. We finally are above the median. We closed above the median. Woof. Off we go. We didn't do that. But look at the difference. When we closed above the median here, we're up in here. When we closed above the median, up in here. Oh, I just lost it. Sorry. Right there. The differences are cross in the direction. We have this belly. Here, we have the indication of going down. That does not show strength. These are always our governance. And if you're short-term trading, just turn an alert on these. Do it on the 2s and the 4s. Because it would have rang here and saved you all this pay. Now we're about to get it in, and hopefully we get another bunch of these. That's what we want to see. It's been healthy, and we now have indication that that's what it wants to do again. Or we might be in this cycle, which also isn't a bad thing to recognize, of for a while. And going up and down in a channel when you can see it and it stays in there, that's healthy too. And you just play up and down in those. And how do we know,
That sounds like fun when you explain it like that.
right? And how do we know those are happening? Well, we'll get the crosses. You know, you can set your alarms. You can do that for trading pairs. You can do that for market cap. You can do it on the hourlies. Use the tools to your advantage, right? So that's the money flow. Things are looking good. As I said before, Chicken Little, the sky's not falling. We had a ton of ups, whole lot of greed, everything from the meme coins and all that, which we'll get into again. Dominance. Dominance is always a little tricky when money's coming in and out as fast as it is and it's not rolling down. But it did roll down the last bit, absolutely, into altcoins. And now profits are being taken. And we're on the 4 hours. So if we look on the daily, it makes sense to what has been happening. We wanted this down before. This is what we were talking about, I think, somewhere back in here. And of course, the market dictates sometimes. And we don't get what we want. But it's not a bad thing. Like I said, these W's, if we know this is what's going to be happening and we start playing them, you're still early. Because if you felt like you missed out, you're getting entries right now that existed a month ago. And this isn't the first few days of pullback in a bull market. There's many more to come. So if you're in for the long term, it doesn't matter. If you're in for the short term, you're learning how to play it. Greed, taking profits. Oh, it's the hardest part of the game sometimes. Just listening to the tools. Look how much stabilization is. And remember, stabilization builds compression and breakouts. Just like it did here. And it went to the downward side, which we thought, and in the Discord is where we told you to get out of Ethereum. Tried too many times. Failed. Anyways, jumping ahead of ourselves. So we pretty much did a play-by-play the entire time the market cap was depleting and Bitcoin was dropping from its all-time high in the Discord to look at the rationale. And we came up, this is a different one. This is the one we did on the show. But we can see after what we were talking about, we wanted to come down, break out, retest, and off. What would we do? Let's clean this up. And we said worst case scenario, curve did it faster to the cross, which is nice. You know, consolidate, worst case, come down into this area, contest it, and then hopefully take off. Well, it did a lot faster. Great. And that's the power of a bull market. But it broke our trend line. It retested, and now we're off with that close to a bullish cross. Because we got to believe the indicators, people. We're off. Are we going to have slight pullbacks up and down along the way? Yeah, for sure. There's greens and reds. It's healthy. But all things are firing now again for this direction, which we were hoping for. Just did a lot faster, which we always say about Bitcoin. This kind of a thing can happen anytime.
Am I able to see Bitcoin on the daily kind of and the 2 hour or just like kind of in sequence? Maybe is that possible?
Like, which one would you like first, 2 or day?
Whatever. Two. Let's go 2.
So remember your green is your I'm pretty sure we would have stuck to the lines by now. That's a 4-hour consolidation box on a large time frame. These are your major support and resistance. All right.
Yeah.
We're coming up to clearly a resistance. And you and I haven't looked at charts since the last time we were on live, probably. And I mean, it was rough and dirty as we always talk about, but when you start to look at where those highs and the candles are, the lows and where they get to, and the possibilities of that you discuss, that hopefully helps wean out panic. And the tools help hopefully build confidence. We talk about getting these bellies, right? We got a belly and we know it's narrowing, right? This this is, and we haven't been down in this area for quite some time. And when we have been, it's pretty off again.
Yeah,
Oh,
pops, eh? It seems.
right. And that's what we talked about last night. And then if we even just look right now where we are, look at just that box alone. Actually, you know what?
Did you just restart?
Oh, I know.
You're such a badass.
Right. But so it makes sense. And I was just saying when we looked at the money flow, that the next little bit, we'll probably have a little bit of pullback. We just had all this up, and look where it's going to try to fight. It's fought this area a few times. It's held this ground a few times.
And there's also been a couple of times it's just blown right through, you know? So it's when I
Mhm.
see that kind of thing, it keeps me in that kind of uncertainty.
Right. Absolutely. Just got to cross. So we know the uncertainty is also going to be in this area because we can draw now another one right here. We can say, hey, we're now in this one. Resistance here and support all in here, and it's supporting here. So when it breaks this area and comes back down, which will be healthy, it needs to hold here. It needs to break here. Otherwise, we're coming back down into this box. Make sense?
Yeah, it totally
And
does.
that's where I mean, like we can not. Well, you can always have boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes. And so, and when we get out of this box, we know we're going to have contention in these areas. Now, when we zoom out, this contention might not even look like it's existing because it'll just be a big candle on a longer time frame. But we
Right.
know when we zoom in, it's up and down, up and down, up and down,
Hmm.
right? So
That's why I
in
wanted to go sequentially, like 2-4 into the daily, just kind of so I can see how they're, moving as
two,
they go up. Yeah, because I just find that it just you go like 2, and then if you go 4, you can just see those
yeah.
um
So
indicators moving just slightly, right? Which I like.
so we just did this on the twos, all indicated on the 4 hours. Right? All these drawings are for four, but doesn't matter.
We get
So
it. We get it.
here it is now in the fours.
All right. All right.
Right? Very interesting. Wicks in the body is definitely holding. And then now that on the daily is where it really starts to look weird. And that's why we try to do it on the daily at first, but not far off. I mean, wick there, a little
Mhm.
under,
Mhm.
it still gives you the idea of where we are, and a little bit of pullback makes sense. And you can see when we really get in and dirty. So if you're really unsure of what is that indicator saying, you can totally just zoom in on it too, right? Where? Oops.
What are you trying to do?
Well, we always say we look for the curl, right? And when it
Mhm.
starts to curl like this, there's a possibility of that cross coming. Possibility of the cross coming. It stopped curling. That's not a curl anymore.
Mhm. That's just following the candle now.
right?
Yeah.
And it will for a bit, absolutely. And this is still significant distance between. And we know the greater these two lines are apart, the greater price action. So if it curls, it is going to come down fast. If it curls that way, it's going to go up hopefully fast. So lots of volatility is what that is telling us. And it's building compression at the moment. And compression leads to breakouts. We've had a cool off. It's time to go back. We're in a bull run. What is this down here? Right. When they cross, oh, right in between there is typically your entry down in here. So even in here, they're telling you this is a healthy area to be in to the upside. RSI is back to median, which is healthy. It's not firing all green and over. Ooh.
Cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So Bitcoin has a lot of momentum to the upside. We do have a lot of those news. We have had some cooling off. That is not to say right now this can't just do it again. This is crypto, ladies and gentlemen. These 20s and 30s and 40% can happen at a whim. And that's why we always say, hey, take profits. It's important. We did those on the 2. I'm just going to remove everything. We'll relook at that tomorrow. It's a new day. But we know what we're talking about when it comes
Now
to
that was an engulfing candle on Bitcoin, I think, at the very least.
There you are. And
Yeah.
like we want to get right back up to there.
There you go.
All right. Ethereum. Yee. Here was our massive breakout that we thought was coming. Got out in the Discord. And now we're at the belly. All right. This would have been a great entry. And we've been talking about Bitcoin like crazy, or Ethereum, well, all of it, I guess, like crazy. And we've been following Ethereum really well. And it's time for the cross and just to stagger our way back, all the way back up to these points again. It's these W's that I love, that we do. And then every now and then we get blessed with a rocket. And take your profit when you do, because they all correct eventually. But we're getting a sell sign. We know money's been hot coming in. The weekend is coming. There's lots of factors. This will still come across. But we also know right after crossing the big up, there's always that retracement that we talk about. So when we get the crosses, we don't get all excited the cross came, we buy the retracement. So now you have the indicator confluence of the cross, and you have the first pullback from it. Strategy. Simple strategy. So Ethereum is I mean, been doing just great. It's still slow, and that's why we got out up here and moved our money into other things, which we'll talk about here shortly. We've been following Cosmos, and somebody brought it up on the show. I can't remember who now, Phantom and Kusama, for some time. During these times, I said I'll always readdress them, that these were the areas that it may come down to and then contest. Looks like it held just above here, which is nice, which would have been the belly of that right there. This is always just quick and dirty. But we do have a bearish cross here. So this could still have some downward pressure. It may need, this is telling us on the daily, it's possibly still going down. We got an entry here with Bollinger. We've had an entry since there. It is why I'm always leery of stochastic. So right now for Cosmos, am I entering? No, I want to see more confirmation that we're out of this, because we'll get another one back to back. Then there'll be those quick ones like this kind of stuff. Boom, boom. Otherwise, it may need some cool off time. Will that give me the draw answer there? Phantom's been great on this. I mean, all of these have been great. That was our entry. So even with all these pullbacks, and this is where we say, hey, you know what? If you just buy and hold and ignore all this, oh, boo-hoo, you're at 195% in the last 44 days. And I mean, it's called some of these. If you go back and watch any of our old, we gave you, that was our second entry right in here. You know, on the daily, it's still got lots. And we've talked about this for a while. Would I be getting in on this right now? Where are we on the 4 hours? Lots of pullback, little curl. Indecision. Interesting. Zoom in for a better idea.
We've been talking about this kind of thing a lot this week. It's like we're just watching, we're just holding on and just kind of seeing where the next few candles go. And a lot of watching and waiting, though. This one's interesting. Look at those retracements, though.
See, this is also what I love. What we've talked about before on the show is these are beautiful. Ascending triangle, ascending triangle. You know, they're many places. This is nice, healthy ins out. Just missed that one, but you can see the belly ins out. And what are these on 1 hour's? 30% swings. So do your consolidation box, look at your indicators, and figure out your entries and exits on looks like an ascension.
I don't think I've ever looked at Phantom on the hour. That's interesting.
And we definitely have now started to curl. Like when we these higher lows are definitely starting to get higher. And then we had all that, and then so what does our indicator say? Oops. Interesting. Huh.
I love when you do that. Look at this. What's this? Interesting. You just hear your wheels turning over there.
Yeah, I would wait for the third channel down on Phantom on the 4. It'll probably pop. I haven't, as you know, Kate, you've been a champion in sharing everything that's going on in your life. Your dad's a goat right now.
It's killing it.
Not the terms I would have used when your dad had open heart surgery on the day.
He's killing it. They're not killing him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a new aorta, so he's gonna rock that for the next 30 years too. So
let's hope so. Absolutely.
He's gonna really miss ice cream, Pope. He's gonna really miss ice cream.
Oh, right.
I'll have to get him some rice stream.
I'll leave that one alone. So our entry was the gold line. And if there is a story about taking profits, this would probably be it. I mean, our first entry was the gold line. Our show entry was at that price point. We gave another entry somewhere in here. And look how high that got to its peak. Ish. Merry profits, not the token. Merry profits, not coins. That's what we said the other day.
Merry profits, not coins. Supreme. I think he's been here the whole time, but he heard ice cream, and now he's just written ice cream.
Oh, coconut ice cream, brother. Soon, my friend. Soon. Interesting little interesting little retest there on the fours. What does confidence say? Yeah, that makes sense. Right. So here's another still higher lows after all this time, but this is the importance of alts and taking profits or long-term holding. And some you can see, like, even with the long-term hold, you're still doing phenomenal. 20%. It's better than most stock portfolios for a year. But understanding just when these take profits, ins and outs happen, and when opportunities happen to get back in, not financial advice, are there. So Casper, here we said short the fuck out of it. Here we said long. Then we kind of said it got boring. And then we started talking about these W's and higher lows. It now does have that, and we want to see that belly. And I said we want to see this weight, and it'll probably bounce. And you might get a stink bid on this weekly, most likely. Actually, I should move that to.
What's a stink bid again?
That's like you catch a wick on the way down, and your order fills, and it like you get like a sale. It's like it's a quick wick, and it makes it like something like that. Your entry was here. You know how we do an entry? We split up our entries,
like our dollar cost entries. You mean?
Yeah, we'll put half on one and half on another, or a third and a third. That bottom bid is typically the stink bid. And when it hits, it's beautiful. And when it doesn't hit after a while, you just delete it. Of course, I deleted a stink bid just recently that I shouldn't have, because it would have hit in this last few days. And it would have been great. It would have been up so much right now. It would have been crazy. A lot of the focus has diverted. And that has definitely gone from everything being AI, and then the last few days, as we've been talking, to everything being meme coins. This will have a short run. People get sick of just constantly losing their $500, $300, $1,000 and being exit liquidity. So that being said, these are typically times that are great to find opportunities when the market is distracted. And I think a big part of this bull run, which we talked about before, is that there are going to be a few narratives. AI, we said yes. We've said DePIN, and we've also said gaming. And gaming right now, I think, will be our next hit. And when we look at a few different tokens in gaming, and we have some in the past, and some of them have been massive hits. These are ones that I've looked at recently that look interesting. Obviously, with everything IRL right now, I haven't had the time that I've wanted to dig in. But as we have said, Kate and I are working together through a list of all of the people we know, the groups we're in, and then TAing them to get some interesting stuff. And we also know anytime there's days of red and uncertainty in the markets, it's time to look. So, PYR Vulcan Forge, if you're not familiar with it, the game is actually pretty epic. And there is a lot of users. You can have the greatest game in the freaking world. If nobody's using it, who fucking cares? Gaming is such a hot word, maybe. In this cycle, in the last cycle, games are huge. It's not something that can happen overnight unless it's just like a really, cheap, quick, easy thing. But Vulcan Forge is far from that. The graphics are insane. The user base is high, and it's performing. So I want to continue to look at this token. I just deleted it or passed TA on it because, well, let's be honest, things have changed since we've looked at it. And we always say, don't marry your old TA, and it doesn't take long to do some quick stuff. Look at all that compression. Oh, I've been telling people to get into this for ages. Oh, and I'm on the daily.
We talked about this one a lot in February, I think it was. We had a good time with this one in February.
So this is on the daily. I thought we were on the weekly. So we are another point of retest. We came up, and we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to bounce in this midsection of this bigger section that we just did. The consolidation within the consolidation. This will be resistance. This is a major point of contention coming down. Why I'm looking. And we haven't even got up to these points. So when people are distracted on shit, ironic, meme coins and stuff, they sometimes miss what's right in front of them. And sometimes it doesn't take long to go. How fast that one went. We know there'll be some slight ups and downs. We've been talking, like you said, about, well, I've been talking about it for ages, but since the show, probably since day one. On the daily, micro bear, extremely tight compression. Bollinger Band right on the bottom. Didn't break, but it rarely has. Rarely has on the bottom. Like, ever in ages. So,
it's interesting. That's like just a little wick here and there has popped down.
And we know we like bellies. And it won't take long for this to go. It was firing by here, the stochastic. So Vulcan Forge right now, yeah, looking juicy to me. to the point I bought in. I took some of my juiciness when I got out here. Why? Let's look at this on the fours. We've closed above the median, and we don't get micro bears too often. So let's see how far we get to ride this next micro bull up, because we got one. What we know, we just had, look at all that fuck ton of up. What do we say when we get one? Like for the retracement, look where it's pulled back to. If you don't want to get the damn perfect entry somewhere in here, buy now, wait, hold, off you go. Vulcan Forge. Love it. Big time. Look at all that downward pressure. Makes sense. Consolidate. Off we go. In a buy position. Finally cooled off to our localized high. Sorry, I'm getting tired. To the wick, 168. To there, 124. Probably means they're about 80. 62. My bad. That's to the body. I bet you wick to wick. Anyway, splitting hairs. But gaming is the next narrative.
Can we check that out on a lower time frame when you're done with this one, please? Just kind of
jumped out of fours.
Want to see what the movement is within the movement.
We're closing. Damn near close at median or above it. We haven't done that in a long time. Then it took off. Belly. Now it makes sense. A little bit of pull down. We talked about some of the money leaving the market right now because we had a whole bunch of ups, a little bit of healthy retracement. If you really want to get in, yeah, do exactly what you said. Zoom in on the lower time frames. All right, critical fired on the twos. It would have just bought critical. Let's say we middle it between the two firings. Shy 12%.
That's all right.
That's not too shabby.
That's okay.
I bring you guys gifts.
I wouldn't kick that one out of bed.
All right. So there we are. There's another nice gift in the gaming narrative. Mana has been around for a long time. Decentraland.
I was looking at this whole time going, what on earth is that? But Mana, I understand.
Mana's not in the best of position at the moment, I don't think. It's saying we're firing in a buy. We're at possibly a cross. This is on the daily, remember. All right. In the middle, in the buy, we know market sentiment is shifting. But when we look at the bigger picture, there's lots, and I'm not saying we're getting to all-time highs, but even our recent all-time high that we want to challenge again, it is quite a decent percentage. Current price, candles, bodies. But we're at that, do we turn here and go? This is where I want to wait. But Mana long term is a good one. On the 4 hour, it's coming in. So it is pretty good chance this is a great entry. On the daily, But you got to remember, we don't have that crystal ball, and somebody might wake up as a market and choose hate, and we may see 75 to 125 billion dollars leave in an hour. And when those kind of things happen, these kind of things happen. So this could easily come up to here, but then just break down here. That's always the possibility. This could be a head and shoulders. And then off. I doubt it, to the point I bought a bunch somewhere in here. But there is that possibility. I'm not seeing it myself. I'm seeing healthy up growth, healthy up growth, healthy up growth. And gaming will move quick. And when it moves, and if it gets into any of these kind of numbers, you know, I don't have a
So
ton
it
of
can be
this,
a life-changing percentage there.
right? And part of the things that we've done over the last few days is knowing with your father is we took trades with the market, so we could experience some IRL and not have to focus on the screens and just breathe. And it's been refreshing, I think, for you and for myself to look at the TA, walk through our strategies and what we've been planning, and you can have almost that sigh of relief, like, okay, it's that extra layer of confluence. You know, part of this whole journey and this whole job too is not to have to stare at the screens all day, and to be able to have confidence in your decisions, the indicators, and the market. And if you're in those shorter trades, the only way to do that is to stay on top of the money flow cycle
It's
and
true
how that.
because like all the money that I've got in right now, we're in long-term trades. So when I needed to go do the stuff I needed to do in the last couple of days, I wasn't stressed about it because I had
What a,
other things to do, right?
and what a difference. And when
Mhm.
you are in those positions, right, you don't have to short-term trade. You can leave that budget aside, and when you're ready to come back and go, hey, I'm on the hunt now for these swings in and outs on the day or in the half hours or whatever it is, how many times you're going in and out, you have the time to devote to it. And
Yeah,
that's why
you
we
can actually
always,
do your TA from that point when you're actually ready and execute at that time.
and why it should never be all of your trading budget. So that was a long-winded short episode again, but it has been 10 days of no chicken littles, no sheep decisions for us both, especially through all the trials and tribulations of IRL. So
Mm.
pats on the
And the
back.
FOMO of the market and all that stuff and the fear and everything. Yeah, I think we're doing okay.
Doing all right. Tomorrow is
Regular show day?
I think so. I think we could pull off a regular show tomorrow, Friday show, and maybe we'll have something lined up, something special, whole bunch of entries. Maybe I don't
Definitely. There's definitely some things happening. You keep pointing those bellies out at me. Of course, it's going to be an entry here or there.
And there's quite the list you've gotten. I mean, Amir, Ryan, Supreme, these guys are nailing it with their calls in the Discord in so many ways. It's great to see, and I can't never say thank them enough for what they do in our community. They provide great information, wealth, technical analysis, some
Thorough.
some banging trades.
Yeah.
The FOMO has more been missing out in our own Discord and missing some of those. But thank you for all those that tune in. Thank you to the average of 200 views a show. It's a little weird, but it's also very appreciative. So it means hopefully we're on the right path.
It's so cool. I love that people come and check us out and watch these freaking money flow with us. It's important. Thanks to Primo in the background, and thanks, Kenna Crypto Pope, for hanging out with me at midnight. I dig this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just see what we're doing, what we're looking at, and hopefully it helps to everybody, because at the end of the day, we all want the
Later, Gators.